amigos de People VIP, les saluda Carla Montalbán y me encuentro con Carla Morrison, que está a punto de salir su nuevo CD, El Renacimiento, que es su primer trabajo en 6 años. Hola Carla, how are you?
Muy bien, Tocaya, ¿cómo estás tú?
I'm doing great. And I want to know more about El Renacimiento. I know it's your first project in more than 6 years. What does rebirth mean to you?
Oof, well, I'm so happy to be back because I feel like for the longest time I wanted to make an album that sounded and spoke about things that were really, really close to my heart. Not that before I wasn't doing that, but this time I am. And so I feel like being rebirthed this time is just on my own terms, with my own new sound, with my new songs, with everything, looks, glam, hair, everything. So I'm super excited to be back and to be reborn into this new era. Super happy.
That's amazing. You've got the whole package. The whole package is going on now. And I'm pretty sure that everybody's curious to know, what happened in this time that you were away, right? You walked away from it all 6 years ago, and you've had a lot of time to go inward. What were some of the most important takeaways that you've had from that time?
Well, when I left, it was really because I was just not happy. I was just overworked. I was burned out, and I just needed some time off. And I made a conscious decision to not make music for around probably 2 years. I just didn't want it to. And I think when I came back to starting making music again and decided to maybe do a new album, my biggest takeaways were just to forgive myself, because when I was doing all of these things, in my career, and I was very overworked, I was just learning to be famous. I was learning to be an artist. I was learning to be a boss, because I'm an independent artist. And so I feel like I just didn't know how to navigate that. And I was really mad at the situation. But my biggest takeaway, it was that it was my responsibility at the end of the day. It was nobody else's fault. And at the same time, I just had to just forgive myself that I was just, learning everything for the first time, and in this big, expanded way, which is like just being an artist, being famous, it's so much. And so I learned to have a relationship with myself, to spend time with myself, to become my best friend, and to just hang out and have some wine and cheese in Paris, because I moved to Paris. I went to school I went to a conservatory of jazz and for singing, and I also went to school to learn French. And so it was a really cool experience to just start from zero, spend around almost 3 years in Paris eating cheese and wine and hanging out. It was so
Oh my God, that sounds like the best. No wonder you're reborn. I mean, like it's a whole Renaissance experience. She went to Europe, everybody. She went and she was reborn all over again. And what is your favorite part of this album? I know that when artists write albums, it's sort of like they're pouring a piece of themselves out into this music. So I want to know what this process was like for you, and what are some of your favorite parts of it?
I think the process was actually pretty easy in a way, where I was like being very honest, but I think a lot of things happened in the middle of it, because it was a pandemic. Then I was in Paris and I moved to LA. In the middle of that move, my dad passed away from COVID. And then I got married, and then I got a house, and it was just so many things. So it was hard in that sense, that a lot of things were happening and life felt very full of things. But at the same time, my best memories are when I was in the studio and I was just being vulnerable and I was just trying new things. When I allowed myself to try new things and just really make this album a pop album, that was awesome, because I just wanted to be not be afraid anymore, and just be myself, and talk about mental health, because also all of my albums have been very about relationships. And this one, I feel like it's a lot about the relationship I have with myself and the things that I had kind of ignored for a long time. And now I'm like, no, let's talk about your anxiety, girl. Let's talk about your depression. Let's talk about the struggle, the struggle of you allowing yourself to dream, to find yourself again, to love yourself, all these things that I hadn't talked about. So the favorite thing about this album, my favorite thing is just that it sounds more mature and it feels more mature and just speaks in a more mature way, I guess.
Bueno, Carla, thank you so much for joining us on People VIP. So excited to hear Renacimiento, which is coming out on April 29th. So
Yay!
This was
Yay,
Carla Morrison, everybody. Thank you so much.